Miami is actually the biggest, like, point of contention with this playoff. I mean, that's been the argument that everyone has been talking about, Miami, Notre Dame, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have to have that argument here. But the Hurricanes, in reality, at BetMGM, their price is plus 300. They need, like, help to get into the postseason in addition to winning. So this Saturday, they're taking on Virginia Tech. They have Pitt next Saturday as well. If they win both of those games, okay, great. They did their job. But here's what else they need. They need Oklahoma to probably lose to either Missouri or LSU. That's what they need to happen. They also need BYU to take an L this Saturday against Cincinnati to kind of get the Cougars out of the picture for an at-large bid. And then they also need Texas Tech to make sure they take care of business in the Big 12 title game so that Texas Tech doesn't end up as an at-large
Utah, right? Utah's probably going to take an L also.
So, that's, I think, it's kind of implied almost. Like, if Texas Tech, because if BYU loses, it's likely going to be Texas Tech versus Utah. And if Utah loses again to Texas Tech, I think Utah's just out of it. So, like, they need Utah and BYU to both take L's, but it starts with BYU this Saturday. At 3-1, I like Cincinnati on Saturday. I don't know how you feel about that game. Can I ask
you this? I think if BYU wins and makes the Big 12 title game and loses again to Texas Tech, I think BYU's out. Do you agree or disagree with me?
I agree. They'll be out. Yeah. Because the Big 12, nobody really sees them as, like, that great of a conference. I think Texas Tech would be in if with a loss in the conference title game, just because Texas Tech, I think, is elevated past
Texas
everyone
no matter
else.
What. Can I ask a different question? What happens if BYU beats Cincinnati, Utah wins out, Texas Tech beats BYU in the Big 12 title game, and Utah ends with 2 losses? Utah or Miami?
I mean, they're telling us that they think Utah's a better team based on the rating. Now, like, that also might be because they don't want to have this Miami-Notre Dame conversation.
Right?
It's very complicated. And, like, I think...
and BYU
think
beat
there's
Utah.
Some nefarious stuff going on. Correct.
Ooh, what kind of nefarious stuff?
Well, I mean, I think that Alabama's at 10 because, like, they can keep them as a buffer between Notre Dame and Miami. That's why I think Alabama's 10. Like, honestly. Because, like, there's no way you look at both those resumes and say that Notre Dame should be ranked ahead of Bama. There's no way. I'm sorry. Like, I think they want to keep those two teams apart as long as possible to where it's not like, okay, well, now we have to talk about head-to-head. Sorry, Notre Dame, you lost. Now we have to take Miami. No, it's like if you have them far apart, it's like, well, Notre Dame's on a different tier than Miami is. So, like, that's why I think they're kind of keeping some of these teams as buffers. Now, from a betting standpoint, how do we take advantage of that? Like, I think you need these teams to start losing games. That's what you need. You need BYU to lose, and you need Utah to lose at least one more time, likely to Texas Tech, because that's the whole thing with the Big 12. If Cincinnati beats BYU, there's a good chance we have like a 5-way tie for that second-place team in the conference, and likely going to be Utah that wins that tiebreaker, but there's like a bunch of different scenarios based off of opponent win percentage and all this stuff because the conferences are way too big now. But I think it's likely to be Utah versus Texas Tech, and then you'd need Texas Tech to take care of business. You want to talk about the SEC and the Big Ten? Because I think there's some fun stuff there as well.
I would like that. So do you have interest in doing something with Miami in the betting market for them?
I think if you like Miami, like, now is the time to strike. Because I like Cincinnati on Saturday. Like, Miami stuff aside, I do like Cincinnati plus 2.5. I like them to win the game, of course. If they win, I think Texas Tech will take care of business in the Big 12 title game, to where as long as Miami just doesn't stub their toe, which it's Cristobal, they lost to Syracuse last year, so you never know. But
do you think Bama needs to lose for Miami to get in?
I don't think so. I think Bama's going to take care of it. Like, I think Bama's going to be fine. Like, that to me, I think Oklahoma's the bigger one that needs to lose than Bama. Because Oklahoma then beat Bama. I think if Oklahoma loses, Oklahoma's no longer in the picture. See you later.
Agreed.
Bye. You're no longer involved. So I think that's what you want if you're a Miami guy. Bama, they still have the SEC title game. Like, I think Bama's going to end up winning out, honestly. So, like, I guess in my mind, I don't think they're going to lose. But I'm assuming it would help if Bama lost. But I don't think that needs to happen. I think you want Oklahoma to make sure that they don't get a path to, like, hey, here's 2-loss Oklahoma with a win in Tuscaloosa. We're not going to leave them out. That's where it gets problematic for a team like Miami. Vanderbilt, they're plus 320, so a little bit longer than Miami. Miami's plus 300. Vandy's plus 320. Vandy, of course, has to win out, and like the big game for them is going to be next Saturday against Tennessee, like the biggest game in that rivalry, and like I don't know, since I've been alive at least. They also need BYU to lose to Cincinnati, and I think they also need Texas Tech to take care of business as well. I think if those things happen, and I know Miami's ranked ahead of them, but a 2-loss SEC team that beats Tennessee on Rocky Top, I think that Vandy would actually get it. And if it came down to Vandy versus Miami, I mean, Miami's a way bigger TV draw than Vanderbilt, but Vandy is an SEC team, and we know the committee thinks highly of the SEC, and they think nothing of the ACC. That's why Miami's in this conversation to begin with. I think it's worth something to take a stab on Vandy at plus 320 if you believe that they can beat Tennessee, which is the biggest hill that they have to climb.
And very fascinating. Man. Trying to think of like what's the bet I like the most out of the ones that you brought up or otherwise. I'll tell you. I'm betting Missouri plus the points and money line this weekend against Oklahoma.
That opens up things for Miami. Yeah.
Oklahoma no plus 150. I like that. I'll give you another one. I think USC might beat Oregon this weekend.
Oh, then you got to look plus 350 for the Trojans.
I think Oregon's out with a loss. I don't think Oregon makes it with two losses. The no on Oregon's plus 200. The USC yes to Femi's point is plus 350. And I talked about it yet. Like, I don't think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State, but if they did and beat Maryland this weekend, that would be fascinating.
Plus 750 Michigan.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State, so I can't get there.
Yeah,
I don't think so, but I think a lot of people think they can.